Hopefully this is a shorter version of macros and micros. I just made another video that was kind of a long-winded version of explaining it. Hopefully this one's better. Right now we're recreating Amanda's to-do list, which is over here, her old one, and we're making it into a more formatted macro and micro. Right here we have the company, the entire company's long-term goal, which is $1,500,000 in annual revenue within a 12-month period, a year's period. So by December 2020. That long-term goal is right at the top. It lets everybody know exactly what we're trying to do every single time they go to their to-do list, and keeps everybody understanding what the vision is. Long-term goals are usually a year to 2 years, maybe even 3 years if you want, and then they spit out your short-term goals. My personal preference is short-term goals are emotional. We all have that emotional aspect of ourselves, so it's always nice to have a relatable goal that's emotionally based. So right here we can see level of security so high all stress is vanquished, and that's the reason I think that's a goal right now, is because right now we've had a lot of security issues, padlocks, keys, chains, gates, all kinds of things like that, GPSs, and so her short-term, or I could say but Amanda's short-term goal is to relieve herself of a lot of stress by making sure that our level of security is extremely high. And so she's got that goal set for December 1st. And the reason why is because the short-term goal is usually about a 3-month to a 6-month period. It's just short enough to reach and to really make sure that we can complete that goal. The short-term goals spit out your macros. Now a macro has a lifespan of a month and a half, or 2 months, and that's it. Macros spit out micros. Micros have a lifespan of 1 hour. Micros are micro tasks or little details that over time, after micro, after micro, after micro, the macro is finally completed. So imagine over a 2-month period, you've got to organize the office desk. Well, there's a lot that goes into organizing an office desk, and so we've broken that down into micro steps. So here you can see organize top left drawer, top right drawer, top middle drawer, bottom left drawers, bottom right drawers. They're all broken down into separate steps. And the reason why is because the brain will reject a project that takes longer than an hour. So yes, we have to organize the desk, but we've got to chunk that down into a format or a language that we can understand and not be so intimidated that we procrastinate our macro. Keep in mind that macros and micros are not organized by priority. You schedule them, you take your macro and you say, I want to complete this macro by September 30th. And you take that goal, September 30th, and you chunk down that macro into micros over time. So tomorrow, let's say tomorrow the 16th, I've got scheduled to organize the top left drawer. On Monday, I've got to organize my top right drawer. And I'm going to take a few weeks breaks. Maybe on the 29th of August, I'm going to organize the middle drawer, and so on and so forth. But remember, I only have to complete the macro. The macro needs to die by the 30th. So I've got scheduled to organize different drawers over time, and boom. Remember, this is not by priority. All the A in the front means is it has everything to do with completing the A in the micro. A, B, B. And another reason why we don't organize things in order by priority is because you're trying to de-stress. You're not trying to worry about which task has to be completed before the other task. The relief comes with knowing that organizing my desk is something that has to be done by September 30th. And all I have to do is day by day, as tasks come up, as micros come up during the day, all I have to say is that task I know takes less than an hour because it's a micro. So I know it's a doable task and I'm going to do it. And then later on the 19th, when this one pops up, I'm going to do that one. Later on, when the 29th comes up, I'm going to do this one. And all that means is I'm not worried about organizing my desk. All I'm trying to do is just organize my top left drawer. That's all I've got to do that day. And I know that if I stay strong and I do my micros every single day, I complete every micro that pops up on each day, every morning, I know that my macro, my A macro, organized office desk, is going to be completed no matter what by the 30th of September. And that is how macros and micros work. You start with a long-term goal, break that down into short-term emotional goals, break that down into macros, a month or 2 month period, break all of that down into micros. And you can see she has a lot of micros. Now, popping over to my to-do list, this might be helpful. You can see a trend here. We don't have more than 3 short-term goals. Amanda only has 2, I have 3. We only have 1 long-term goal. And you want to keep that down to that, because if you've got 5 long-term goals, you're going to have 6 short-term goals, and then you're going to have a gazillion macros, and it's too much. You really shouldn't have more than 3 macros, but I have 5, so I'm a bit of a no-no, but I think I'm about to complete some. My A is about to be finished, so I've thrown another macro in there. But really keep it under 4, keep it at 3 if you can. A 5 is a no-no. But you can see how many micros I have here. And is that intimidating? Possibly. But it's only intimidating if I get stuck in paralysis analysis, staring at all of these micros, all of these tasks that I have to complete over time. No. All I have to do is click this due date, organize it so that it's in chronological order by date. And then all I have to do is today I've got these 2 things to do, and I'm doing this one right now. I'm about to do Jeremiah and Daniel's as well. And then Friday I've got all of this stuff to do, and all I have to do is go task by task by task by task. I know that every one of these tasks take less than an hour, no more. There's no excuse not to complete these tasks because all of them take less than an hour. And that's it. And I'm not paying attention to see, oh, okay, I have to create a system that frees myself up with time, and Amanda's, and Daniel's, and all the Yard Dogs time. No, that would take forever and is very intimidating. All I have to do is worry about this C. Gather video for all of Amanda's largest uses of time. Now, the reason I bring up this C is because this is a bad example of a micro. What this should say instead is make a list of all videos needed for dispatch. That's what that should say. Because when I said make videos for Amanda, well, Amanda's dispatch. But the problem is that would take a very long time. So I've got to chunk down the task that I had into more micros because that task was going to take more than an hour. Well, making a list of all the videos I need for dispatch is not going to take more than an hour. And I also should say, then create micros accordingly. So I'm going to make a list, and then I'm going to make a whole bunch of micros down here according to what that list says. So every single different video I'm going to make into its own micro. That way, and then I'm going to schedule them throughout my macros lifetime. So this is a C that goes up to create systems, and so I want to complete the systems creation by the 30th of September. So I'm going to schedule all of these macros that all these micros that are about to be spat out by this micro itself. So this micro is going to be completed, and then boom, a whole bunch of other micros are going to be created based off of this micro. And then I will take all of those micros, schedule them, and boom. I'm confident and I'm stress-free because I know that this macro is going to be completed. And when that macro gets completed, I'm that much closer to completing my short-term goals, and I'm that much closer to reaching the long-term goal of the company. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, comment below. Wait. I did forget one last tip. Because you know your macro is going to die by whatever date. If you get to Friday and you're just so busy, you've got so much stuff going on that you just can't complete that task. Well, that's okay. All you have to do is reschedule it. Just say, look, I'm going to ditch this. I'm good because I still have over a month to complete it by the 30th. So I'm going to spit this task back a few days to Tuesday of next week. And I feel like Tuesday, maybe I'll be less busy that day. And so that's completely fine. You just know that as long as you complete your micros, your macro is going to die, and that's what you want. So always redate them. If you get stressed out, if you got too much stuff going on, redate it, but know that you do need to complete that micro for your macro to be finished by its date. That's it. Thanks.